Hello everyone, this is Kuroda coming at you with game 1 in a series. This is from the Zotac Cup or Z Cup. I did cast the semifinals already. I will now be casting the finals between Focus and Lucifer here on Twisted Meadows. My apologies for getting this guys to you a little bit late. You guys have often told me take care of myself, make sure I don't cast when I'm too tired, as the quality just really suffers. And yesterday I just was not feeling up to it. So I know it's WarCraft Friday, but then again, I'm sure a lot of you guys out there wish WarCraft was every day of the week. Let's get into the game and see what's happening now. We see Lucifer spawning here as the orange undead player at what I will call the 4 or 5 o'clock position of Twisted Meadows. Meanwhile, clockwise from his opponent, we see Focus as the orc player. So it is undead versus orc here on Twisted Meadows. I forget who really has the advantage in this matchup. There seems to be a hierarchy in terms of what race constantly beats another, and sometimes at one point I thought like orc was underpowered, and then grubby came along, and then undead was overpowered, and yeah, and it's really gone back and forth, and we'll see what's gonna happen here. We see a Blade Master and now a Death Knight being trained by both Focus and Lucifer. One peon will be scouting in the wrong direction, meanwhile one acolyte will be scouting in the correct direction. And as the units quickly scout out each other, we'll see what the strategies will be. Blade Master versus a Death Knight, not too uncommon of a strategy, and I'm looking to see what exactly Lucifer wants to do. He could try to go for perhaps some Crypt Fiends, but he will need some ghouls a little bit earlier on to gather up that lumber. Down over here, you can see that the Death Knight is almost ready to go. Voodoo Lounge is being placed down. It is a little bit delayed, but the Blade Master doesn't really need anything from that shop until a little while later. Blade Master now making a move out. Perhaps it is going to head over to the shop, pick up a Circlet of Nobility, sell his Scroll of Town Portal after a wind walk. And yes, pretty much very predictable. Blade Master always wants to go shopping and get some pretty circlets. Blade Master still wandering around off to the north here, may come across the Acolyte. The Acolyte, if it does fall, will give experience to the Blade Master, obviously. Acolyte trying its best to perhaps suicide itself, and it does not do so, as 25 experience now gained. Death Knight, on the other hand, looking to perhaps come in with a bit of harassment, coming in with 2 skeletal minions and a Death Knight already. He does have Dust of Appearance. The Voodoo Lounge most likely will just end up getting cancelled. Or is it actually going to complete? It looks like it is. Nope, it is just going to get destroyed there. Not quite sure if any resources were refunded, as the interface does not allow for replay watching nearly as well compared to the StarCraft 2 one. Stronghold now being upgraded to 4 Focus. Skeletal minions look like they will get taken down. Blade Master doing a bit more creeping away from the Death Knight. An interesting strategy, as the Death Knight just trying to figure out where that Blade Master is. The Blade Master could easily creep out this creep camp as well, and then perhaps even try to steal the creep camp of his opponent, stealing the experience, as the grunts are now creeping away and far away from any of those units. Are we going to get a... Yes, it is going to be a kill steal there. 20 experience now given to the Death Knight, as the Blade Master about to finish down a Null Brute off over here. Lucifer once again getting a forced cancellation on the Voodoo Lounge. We'll see what's going to go down here as Focus just continuing to gather more and more lumber, and also going to the Voodoo Lounge, but building it a little bit closer. I like that play, making sure that the Orc Burrows can steal or can defend it, as we now see grunts coming over. The grunts trying to push away the Death Knight, and the Death Knight is forced to retreat once more, as the grunts may be able to focus down and get that Null Brute. Level 2 on that Blade Master could be coming in. You can see the boots of speed there. There's the level 2 long distance experience gain for the win there, as now the Orc Burrow. Oh, a nice peon hide inside the burrow there, making sure to not give any more experience. Lucifer so far has not done all too much. Meanwhile, the Blade Master sitting at level 2 could be able to get some windwalk strikes back onto that Blade Master a little bit further. He does have boots of speed, but the Death Knight just able to run away again. Now it looks as though the Null Warden will fall. The Voodoo Lounge finally being able to be built in peace, as the Grunt does back off here, trying to spread out all of that damage. Three grunts and a Blade Master taking down the Null Overseer. We'll see what item is dropped and if Focus can get lucky. Crypt Fiends and Skeletal Minions doing some creeping away from the Death Knight as well. It looks like it will be a Gloves of Haste, a very nice item on that Blade Master. Meanwhile, the Death Knight now coming over. It may get off a free Grunt here as the Grunt now down to 168, down to 68 now. I think that was a bit of a mistake by Lucifer getting over conscious or a little bit greedy there. Oh, going for a double Death Coil. So a double Death Coil to steal an early kill there. Never mind. Nicely done by Lucifer. And we'll see what will be happening next. Blade Master and Grunt still wandering around the field as... Hold on one moment. Alright, I will have to wash my hands a little bit later, but wanted to make sure that thing did not bite me. Blade Master versus the Null Warden. And the Blade Masters will be able to finish this off. But are we going to get perhaps some Death Coils on the Blade Master? The Blade Master, there's a Dust of Appearance. Blade Master trying to go, or we could get a Death Coil shot. No, the Blade Master escapes at 129 hit points. Nicely done there. The Blade Master down to 125. Okay, though, the long distance Crypt Fiend shot did actually hit. We are going into a Lich by Lucifer. So a Lich by Lucifer definitely going to help, as we see one Nerubian Tower and now going into a quick Black Citadel. Now the general strategy for Undead versus Orc is the use of those Destroyers. Destroyers very effective against Grunts early on. And then if your opponent then tries to transition into, say, a lot of Raiders, the Slaughterhouse also works in training up oh my gosh, I forgot the name of the unit since I don't see it all too often. Anyways, Death Knight now still wandering around. We'll see what's going to happen off over here. Shadow Hunter still wandering around, a little bit of blocking there. Abomination, there's the name of the unit. Shadow Hunter now making its way off to the north here. Blade Master should be able to creep this out with the help of the Shadow Hunter. No, opting the Just by Dust of Appearance. And now the Skeletal Minion does get taken down. Blade Master still sitting at level 2. The Shadow Hunter needs to get higher up in order for this to be effective. The Death Knight now sitting at level 2. Lich does have a Rod of Necromancy, does not have Orb of Corruption. Undead Frost Armor, a very, very nice choice to save the units there, as we now see a quick Hex on a Crypt Fiend. But there will be a Frost Armor there to prevent any that much damage. The Lich now needs to get Frost Armor on himself, and that's going to slow down the attack as the Dust of Appearance now onto the Blade Master. Blade Master getting very low, now being forced to pull away. The Crypt Fiend perhaps doesn't want to be a seal, but still, I guess the Frost Armor does make a lot of sense there, as the units are still moving out, and we are going into an Obsidian Statue. Obsidian Statue will allow for a lot of mana both on the Death Knight and on that Lich. We'll see where these units will be going in next, as one Skeletal Minion giving in a little bit more experience to the Blade Master, and we should be seeing a little bit of a reprieve between these two armies soon in order for them to do a bit of straight up creeping. Both sides are sitting on relatively low level heroes, level 2 and level 1. So with only a level 2 and level 1 hero, they're not really going to be able to duke it out and dish out that much damage. We could see a Death Coil steal there. Yes, I believe it was a Death Coil steal. As now the units are continuing to wander around. No, I believe, did the Blade Master get the experience? No. Okay, so I'm actually not quite sure who got the experience in that engagement. Perhaps the Undead army there. I'd have to look at the replay or rewind it, but this is WarCraft 3 and no rewinding feature. Anyways, we'll see what's going to go down next. Lucifer goes into a Pit Lord as the third hero. All right. Going to be rooting for Lucifer now just because he went for an unconventional Pit Lord, going for Howl of Terror as his ability. Now, that is very, very effective, as it does reduce a lot of the damage, the base damage of the units. And if he can reduce the base damage also of that Blade Master, the Blade Master deals a lot less damage with those critical strikes. Spirit Link now being cast, the Destroyers could easily devour that magic in just a second. Why isn't it doing so? Yes, no, it's just attacking the Spirit Walkers as opposed to devouring the magic. And did finally devour some, and should be able to get off some easy shots there. 9-5 armor now on the Shadow Hunter, taking an additional 6%, as the Crypt Fiends now getting ensnared by the Raiders. Abominations will need to be added if the Raiders start to get to be a bit of a problem. Normal armor, Abominations do deal a lot of damage there. We should see an ensnare coming in soon, and there's the ensnare now down onto a Destroyer. The Destroyer unable to fly or go anywhere, instead going after these units here, as they are on the ground as a Crypt Fiend now making its way back over. Here is that creeping that I was mentioning. Lucifer doing a great job if he can get to level 3 and perhaps get the Pit Lord up and get that cleaving blade. That Pit Lord is a nice unit in that it can be up front, deal a lot of damage, and also get healed with his passive ability. Blade Master Shadow Hunter still sitting at level 3. Level 1, we have an Orb of Lightning, or what I'd like to call a Purge Ball on that Blade Master. The Blade Master will be able to essentially ensnare a lot of those units, making them stand still, unable to move from that Blade Master. And here we go. There is that Purge, the Obsidian Statue taking so much damage, and that Obsidian Statue unable to move, finally transforming into a Destroyer, as one Destroyer should have a lot of mana. There we go. Both sides battling out. The Shadow Hunter taking a lot of damage there, but still able to come alive with the Healing Wave bounce. A bit lucky as both sides are continuing to fight. And you can see the Howl of Terror reduce damage across so many units. Dust of Appearance now being utilized, and Focus is going to be in a little bit of trouble there as he needs to back off. Headhunter is now being trained, but Lucifer with this early Pit Lord dealing a lot of damage and also preventing a lot of damage. Death Knight now picking up a potion of lesser invulnerability, has True Shot Aura, and a True Shot Aura on Destroyers and Crypt Fiends with that Lich. That is going to be a bit dangerous, as we'll see what's going to happen next. Orb of Lightning and Gloves of Haste. I don't know if that was a counter purchase on the Dust of Appearance to make sure that that didn't come back in. And now Lich does have Frost Armor. That Purge still being utilized. Are we going to get a Death Coil onto that unit there? Both sides fighting it out. Focus is in a bit of trouble. Frost Nova plus an additional attack there. Blade Master at level 3 goes down. Shadow Hunter may go down as well. Nope. Does not go down, but we pretty much know it would have gone down anyways, as Lucifer takes game 1 in this series, taking a very nice lead in what I believe to be a best of 5 series, since this is the Zotac Finals. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, hope you guys enjoyed it, and stay tuned for game 2.